Trump, you're gambling with World War III, meeting between Trump, Zelensky, and J.D. Vance. Let's go.
I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America. And for the good of the world, I'm aligned with the world. And I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got.
I mean, it's kind of hard, man. Obviously, there's hatred. Like, I'm from Czech Republic, right? My country used to be occupied by Russia when I was born, so I did not really experience it as much. But obviously, my parents, grandparents, everyone talks about it till today, because everyone's afraid that people might start voting for communism again because of the situation you have all around the world right now. Some of the people are surprisingly being like, oh, maybe it wasn't as bad during communism as it is now. And it's very easy to think that, because like my parents, when I was born, they literally got apartment for some just crazy amount of money, like little, literally maybe one month salary, just to help start families, right? And it sounds great, but there was so many cons to that, other than that they supported families. So yeah, like definitely no one wants you to come back, and it's kind of ridiculous to hear Americans talking about how everyone's communists, and yeah, during election everyone was calling Trump a Nazi, and it's like, I'm sorry guys, but you can't really, you don't know how it was. I'm not saying I know how it was being Nazi, right? But being from Europe, I'm pretty sure we talked about it a little bit more than maybe Americans, right? Especially like in my country, you can't draw a swastika, you can't heil, like you can literally go to the prison for that, which is kind of different comparing to US, right? So yeah, that's kind of interesting, and it's not good that people are overusing these terms like communist, Nazi, fascist, because in the end it's gonna become, a couple of years ago when you wanted to say that something's stupid or whatever, you said that's gay, and it was nothing against the gay people, it just something people were using during that, it was trend to say it, right? And unfortunately right now it feels like it's becoming trend to say, oh, he's Nazi, he's fascist, he's communist, and people will get insensitive towards these words, and the word's not going to have the same meaning, the meaning as it should have, because like I said, in Czech Republic, my mom, my grandmother, grandparents, parents, right? Everyone's trying to make sure that people will never vote for communists again. So they are well informed, so they know what it meant. And yeah, I think that's something everyone should do. Like, don't overuse these words, because it doesn't mean that something's just stupid. It means so much more than, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I obviously President Zelensky, whatever I think about him, that doesn't matter right now. His country was attacked by Russia, so he's not gonna be all lovey-dovey with Putin, right? So yeah, anyway, let's continue.
Got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to?
And he's right over here. Like, he doesn't have any responsibility towards Ukraine. I'm sorry. He has responsibility towards his own people, and he should take care of his own people, and then if he has resources, then he should help around the world, and I think that's pretty much what he's doing, even though the wording over here might not be perfect, like, oh yeah, they hate each other. Well, obviously they hate each other, right? Zelensky and Putin. Like, it's easy. It's easy to understand why they hate each other. But this conflict needs to get solved. Like, it's impossible to just keep putting money into it without any resolution. Like it was for last, what, 3 years now? Like, oh yeah, let's send money to Ukraine, but let's not ask them to negotiate peace. Because that's what happened before Trump, right? Like, everyone was just sending money, and there wasn't any condition about, but you're gonna have to deal about a peace. And if that condition was there in 2022, the war would be over and Ukraine would be better off than how they're gonna be now. Because now Russia's controlling, what, I think like 4 territories of Ukraine. They're not gonna give it back. So yeah, like, I don't know. Obviously, it's unfair what happened to Ukraine, but the way this conflict was handled, that's the whole other issue. Like, it should have never become this bad.
It'd be tough. I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way, so that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I will respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden, of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' word.
I said it multiple times before, I'm gonna say it again. I just love JD Vance. Like, the way he thinks is just so logical, just so normal. And yeah, he's just a guy at the right spot.
Mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So
yeah, the Crimea for sure, like, they shouldn't have allowed it. It's like the whole world just closed eyes and was like, yeah, it never happened. No, like, they should have stopped him over there, like, straight away. And that's what I think about Ukraine as well. Like, during the first week, Europe should have just stormed there and being like, no, get the fuck back to Russia. And I don't think the risk of the World War III would be as high as it is now. So right now, like, no one other than Ukraine can fight Russia. Let's be honest, like, once someone from Europe or US, like the troops, once US troops or European troops will go into the battle, help Ukraine, the Russia's just gonna go apeshit. Like, I don't think anyone else thinks it's not gonna happen, right? Like, it's pretty obvious. Like, they're a little crazy in Russia, and yeah.
during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him.
But what did Ukraine do during that time? Like, I don't remember them pushing on getting into NATO or European Union or whatever like this, or anything like this since 2014. Like, yeah, like, it's kind of hard to expect anyone else dealing with your issues when you're not really interested in joining them, right? I know I heard a lot about corruption in Ukraine, that it was all because of the politicians, that the normal people wanted to go join NATO, join the European Union, be a little bit closer, like have closer ties with Europe than what they have now, or what they ended up having. But in the end, even if it's just corrupted politicians, like how many politicians do you have, and how much is your population of the whole country? Obviously, you can't do anything overnight, but so that happened 2014. So from 2014, they had 8 years to have some relationship with Europe, to make some deals. Probably wouldn't join the NATO, but still, like, they could have done something during those 8 years. And it didn't happen. I don't know. Like, I don't think you can blame other countries for your own behavior.
He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2015.
2014.
Yeah. So he
I
killed.
was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly right.
yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people are been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president.
Okay, since when is Zelenskyy in power? In 2019. So President Zelenskyy got elected in 2019. So what are you talking about that no one did anything? Like, before Russia started occupying Ukraine or attacked Ukraine, you were president for 3 years already. So you had 3 years to do whatever diplomacy you can to try to protect Ukraine, to try to fight against Russia, to make some safety precautions, whatever. But you didn't. And now you're gonna be like, oh, it's happening for this long and no one did anything about it. Like, I'm sorry, that's the issue I have with what's going on right now, and he's just proving it.
In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about?
Okay, my bad. I didn't know about the ceasefire deal. But again, ceasefire deal, a little bit different than what I was talking about, right?
What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr.
are not
President,
strong-
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count one.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's
I will
respectful
answer.
to come to the Oval Office of the
will
United
answer.
States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your
A
country?
lot of
My God, this is joke. JD, like, he doesn't take a shit from him. And I don't know if you remember, I think even Biden lost his shit on Zelenskyy. Like, I don't want to be mean. Let's just listen a little bit more. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna say it in the end, but
a lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't know
God
that.
bless. You will
Don't-
not
you
have
gotta-
a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's exactly
Remember
what
this.
you're doing.
I'm not
You're
dictating.
in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influenced.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and
of
he
the
happens
war.
to be right.
Yep. Exactly. You allowed yourself to be in very bad position. Okay, here we go. People will get mad at me again, but honestly, I don't care. I'm gonna say my opinion. We have freedom of speech, right? Again, I'm from the country that used to be occupied by Russia. People from my country did a lot of sacrifices to get rid of Russia. Obviously, some of them worked, some of them didn't. In the end, Soviet Union fell apart. We became our own country again. And guess what? What Czech Republic and most of those countries did? They tried to get closer to the Europe. They tried to make deals to make sure it's never gonna happen again. Obviously, I don't know much about Ukrainian history. I'm not gonna lie about that. So what I'm saying is just my uneducated opinion by someone who lived pretty much one country away from Ukraine. I never heard about Ukraine trying to get closer to Europe, trying to get to the European Union, trying to get to NATO. Obviously, there were some issues that Russia didn't want to allow Ukraine to get to NATO because it would be pretty much right on the border. But what it looked like for the longest time is that Ukrainians were trying to be a little bit closer to Russia rather than Europe. And I guess in 2014 that kind of changed. But still, again, other than ceasefire deal, which was for that specific conflict at the Crimea, I guess they didn't really negotiate anything else. And I get that the country was corrupted, like the politicians and everything. But again, you didn't really hear about citizens fighting against those politicians. And back in Czech Republic, we have a lot of Ukrainians there. So I had a lot of friends from Ukraine. They told me how the situation over there is bad. But at the same time, like, they tried to make some money to go back, buy property, live a great life, right? Which I have nothing against it. That's great, that's noble, whatever. But, like, you didn't really hear them fighting for their own nation, trying to improve the situation in Ukraine. And like I said, I never really heard anything about Ukraine trying to get closer to Europe, trying to have a closer ties. So like hearing everything, what President Zelenskyy is saying and what he was saying this whole war, how he sometimes, or most of the times, comes as ungrateful. Like you're not some kind of a, like Europe and the US is not, they're not your parents. They don't have responsibility for you. They don't need to send you money, weapons, or anything. They did it all out of their goodwill, or there was profit for someone or whatever. But like, they don't need to solve your issues. They need to take care of their own citizens. And you had a chance to deal about the peace, but you didn't. Because you just thought you're gonna get everything your way, which is, I'm sorry, it's impossible. Did you see the size of Ukraine and size of Russia? The population of Ukraine and the population of Russia? And just the idea that Russia is communist country and the Ukraine is small democratic country, what do you think is gonna happen? Like, just these two regimes, like, I'm sorry, it kind of shows who's gonna win when you compare it to the size of that country, right? Obviously, Russia and US, same thing. Democratic country against a communist country, they would be a little bit different. But let's say Czech Republic against, I don't know, well, against Russia, we would be screwed as well. And we were freaking occupied. But even if you think about it, let's say Czech Republic against Poland. Poland is almost twice our size. What do you expect us to do if somehow they would invade us? Like, it's just logic behind it. You were supposed to deal about a peace at least the first year, and not having some crazy conditions and being like, no, I want everything back. You know what you did, guys, is bad. So just give it back to us. That's not how life works. Like, what the hell? I don't know. Like, I'm sorry. I know I probably pissed off a lot of people, but I don't like Zelenskyy's behavior. Even there was some meeting where he was talking about how Europe is not doing enough. He mentioned some countries that send him money and weapons and whatever. And I think he was actually talking to some Polish prime minister or minister of defense or whatever. And he didn't really mention how they help them, how they send money, weapons and everything, right? And it's just so disrespectful. Like, I'm sorry, without the support of the pretty much whole world, you would be gone. Ukraine would be Russia by now. I know I still don't agree that the whole world just sent money instead of, like I said, first week, just send the troops, get it over with. But by sending money, like, everyone's gonna end up suffering. People will continue dying because, like they mentioned, manpower, just the population, like, there's no way they're gonna be able to win. And now you can't even send the soldiers because that's gonna become a much bigger conflict. So literally from the first week of the war, only solution was diplomacy. But I don't know what happened. I don't know who profited of the war, but it didn't happen yet. So hopefully now Trump will solve it and get rid of this guy. Like, they were supposed to have election in Ukraine. I understand that the situation's a little bit different, so he stayed president for a little bit longer. But yeah, maybe you need a new leader now, because I think there's multiple presidents and prime ministers who are getting annoyed by this guy, by his behavior, how he demands have conditions for his allies, how he says that they don't do enough for him this whole time. It's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, but that's not how you ask for help.
From the very beginning of the war,
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
playing
But
cards.
right now, you don't.
I'm very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
What do you think
You're
about?
gambling with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to you.
Far more than a lot of people say.
Wait, what? I probably heard wrong. I heard we don't respect what? No, I definitely heard wrong. Yeah, that's not possible. He said it, but yeah, like President Trump's absolutely correct. Like, that's not how you ask for help. Like, you need to be respectful and be happy for whatever you get. And he's definitely playing with World War III, because obviously no one wants to see Ukraine just cease to exist, right? No one. But then at the same time, right now, because of the situation they're in, the evolution of this war, there's literally no other outcome than either diplomacy and deal about the peace, and yeah, Ukraine's gonna lose something, or World War III.
They should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting, have
today.
you said
Let
thank
me
you?
rewind it,
A lot
'cause
of people said
Where is
they
that?
should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot-
entire
To the country. This
Let me see this. What you're doing is very disrespectful to the country.
country.
I'm
That's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you.
you.
Far more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No.
Damn, they didn't close caption him. Anyway, if you caught it, if it was like we don't respect you, or we really respect you, just write it in the comments, because yeah, that's me being an immigrant. I bet my wife would caught it if he said yes or no, and I doubt that he would say no, we don't respect you, but still. And yeah, next question. JD Vance, did you say thank you during this meeting? It's not just my opinion, guys. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be mean. And this is the biggest issue, right? That we always have someone, and it's normal. It's normal around the world. Like, president is supposed to represent country, right? But if you don't live in that country, and you only see the representatives and possibly immigrants or whatever, you make your opinion according to that, right? So if this guy, President Zelenskyy, is just showing demands to his allies, giving demands to his allies, telling how no one's doing enough, not even saying thank you, what should we think about Ukraine? And like I said, I had a lot of friends and people I know from Ukraine, so I have my own opinion about that. But let's say, for example, I have a neighbor over here who's Ukrainian. And if that was the only person I knew from Ukraine, it would be bad. Because that guy is cuckoo. He literally called the cops on me because my dogs peed on his lawn. The lawn that's not fenced, and that's right next to the sidewalk. So it was like the pee puddle was half on the sidewalk, half on the lawn. And he freaking called the cops. And I get that you don't believe me. I wouldn't believe that either. And there was another incident when at 4 in the morning, when I walked my dogs, he started screaming at me. Same issue. And I'm like, hey, my dogs didn't pee on your lawn. What the hell are you talking about, right? Again, I get you don't believe me. I wouldn't believe myself. My own mother thought I'm exaggerating the stories I told her about him. And then she was here, and he came out and started shouting at me, my wife, my kids, dogs. All we did is walk on the sidewalk. That's public property. And he already had an issue about it. So if that was the only person I knew from Ukraine, my opinion would be completely different. So yeah, I get that you are president at war, but you still need to represent. Because if you're the only person people know, I'm sorry, they might have really bad opinion about Ukraine right now.
In this
Even
entire meeting,
today,
have you said thank
even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Oh man. Yeah, I guess you officially can call me Trump lover and Vance lover, whatever, I don't care, because I feel like they represent logic, and that's something that was missed into this world since pretty much COVID, since 2020, maybe even 2019. And these two guys are just bringing it back. But I love the dynamic between them, that literally Trump is protecting JD when President Zelenskyy is kind of trying, I wouldn't say attack him, but not to say any kind words towards him, right? That's, I like it when president and vice president are so in sync and having each other's back. And I don't think you see it very often in politics, so it's definitely fresh air.
No,
Can
you've
I-
done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
I.
You have a damn
we-
good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet.
Exactly. He hasn't been alone. And like, I'm sorry, you're staying in your country, but what is it gonna change? No one wants you to move out of the country. People just want you to deal about the peace, trying to get to some conclusion rather than fight till the last person's dead. And like, I feel like there was no goodwill towards negotiating the peace since the start of the war. I understand that they are hurt, and they're right. Like, what happened to Ukraine? That's crazy. Should have never happened. It's illegal. They have every right to be pissed off. But unfortunately, no one came straight away and shut it down. And the situation they guided it is just, yeah. Like, right now, it's not gonna be Ukraine how we knew it before. Hey, I'm wondering your points for 51st state. Hey, welcome to the chat. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about it a little bit later, probably in like half an hour, 40 minutes. It's gonna be mostly just a reaction to some comments I received, but the 51st state is that's not the real thing, right? Like, it's probably never gonna happen. There's a lot of moving parts that would have to change, and but yeah, like, it's gonna come a little bit later. Let's continue with this.
You haven't been allowed. We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about West
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
He's right. He's right. It would be over if he didn't get any support. So it's kind of, yeah, it's this not disrespectful. It's this damn. What's the word I'm looking for? Disgrateful, ungrateful. It's ungrateful to talk like this. Like, oh, we were alone in this. Yeah. No one sent the troops to help you, that's true, but if you were really alone, like Trump said, you would be done in 2 weeks. And just a point like, you guys elected the president. Well, guess what? The Ukrainians elected the president as well, and that's you right now, and I don't know if they're very happy with you. And when was it? When they were supposed to have election? 2013? Maybe 2014? Well, since then, they didn't really elect anyone, so I don't know, kind of a weird point. But yeah, Trump definitely goes hard. I didn't expect this either. Yeah, you can see he doesn't like him for sure. I can't imagine that he would treat anyone else like this. Like, there's definitely some bad blood, and I don't know, can you blame him?
3
Okay.
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks. Of course he has.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this, I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of
except
times
that there,
thank you
except
to
that,
American people.
except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media. When
Thank you to American people. Well, you should have said thank you to just American politicians, right? Because people didn't vote on sending the aid. They didn't vote on struggling to pay the bills and gas and everything just so their tax money go to Ukraine. Like, I'm sorry, I keep saying it pretty much every stream, but to me, that's a treason. Like, how is it possible that American taxpayers' money, and not just American, but all over the world, right? The taxpayers' money are going to support Ukraine without prior vote. Like, hey guys, if you agree, vote yes. If you don't, vote no. like it's our money. Like, first, every country should take care of their own citizens first. And then if you have something you can offer to help, offer it. If you don't, you should vote. Do you want to support? Do you want this money to go there? Do you want to, I don't know, send troops or whatever? Like, it should be vote. It shouldn't be like, oh, president and vice president and who knows, some politicians decide all of this money will go to Ukraine. Fuck American people, fuck taxpayer, whatever, right? Like, it's just one big business and someone made profit out of it, and normal people suffer. Ukrainians are dying, suffering, and somehow all over the world people are in such a bad situations that it's gonna take a while until everyone's gonna live stress-free again, like financial stress, right? Like, it's crazy everywhere. Inflation, mortgages going up, groceries are almost twice as expensive as 4 years ago. And why? Because no one freaking negotiated a peace for 4 years. So yeah, I think Trump has every right to be pissed off. Same with JD. And I'm sorry, I know I might be a little bit sensitive, but when he says, I thanked American people, like specifically, because he didn't say thank America or United States. He specifically said people. And I'm sorry, I don't think people had much to do with it. They were just robbed of their money. Again, to me, that's a treason when, without prior vote, your taxpayers' money are going to other country.
You're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on
I
over
understand,
there.
sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running low
I
on
know.
soldiers.
Don't, please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I wanted this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our
Hey,
people
what's
about
up?
ceasefire, what they
Welcome.
think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with
a
you.
guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry,
It's going to
here.
be a tough deal to make, because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you
but
saying?
what
She's
if
asking, what if Russia
Putin
breaks the ceasefire?
for the-
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now?
But they have
Okay?
weapons.
What if they broke it? I don't know.
Oh
They
my
broke it
God,
with
it's-
Biden
this
because
is just
Biden, they didn't
brutal.
respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me.
But all-
Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him.
I mean, he's true. Like, I mean, he's right. I keep saying it for a while now. I don't think this whole war would happen if Trump was reelected. It would probably happen after that, because I don't think Putin would give up on this plan. But yeah, definitely, because Trump during his first term was such a wild card. You didn't know what he's gonna do. You saw how he dealt with North Korea and the relationship with Russia. Like, you really didn't expect, you really didn't know what to expect. So I think he's right that they were afraid of him. And now, during his second term, they know kind of what to expect, but I feel like he's more driven. So yeah, we'll see how it ends. And just looking at this debate or meeting, he doesn't give much space to Zelensky, right? And to be fair, so far what Zelensky said, it wasn't the best thing either. So all over the news, you read all of these articles how Trump wants to deal with Russia without Ukraine present, blah blah blah. But there might be a good reason for that, other than just Russia and the US want to divide Ukraine however it's best for them. Obviously, Russia wants to do what's best for them. US is gonna do what's best for them as well. But do you really think if all three of them, like Putin, Zelensky, and Trump, were in one office to try to deal about the peace, do you really think it would get solved? Like, so far, if this meeting tells me something, no, it would not get solved, because someone might get a little too emotional, or I don't know. Like, obviously Ukraine should be included in all of these negotiations, but maybe it should be some other representative, like not president that pretty much his term finished, right? Again, I understand it's hard to do elections during the war, but maybe not the best representative nowadays. At least the way he represents himself and the Ukraine, because yeah, like Trump said, you need to be grateful. Like, no one has any obligation to help you, and everyone kind of does. Everyone kind of does what they can do, and yeah.
And Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out.
Yeah.
But you don't have the cards. But once
if US is out, they're just gonna fight until there's no Ukraine left. Like, I'm sorry, the deal is the only option. And again, sure, it's hard to do anything during the war, but maybe the normal people should be more included in this. Like, do you want to continue dying, or do you want to negotiate about the peace? Because yeah, right now people are just dying and nothing's getting solved.
Once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right.